big things that such a open network offers, democratization offer. One is power of innovation. See, if you really look at what happens in the current platform-centric world, we have very successful platform globally in India too. Whether it is in e-commerce, whether it is in food, whether it is in consumer goods, whether it is in food, whether it is in mobility everywhere. But the thing is, in each of the domain, there are only 2, 3, not just in India, anywhere in the world. Because it's a completely integrated offering. And they are very innovative within that integrated offering. And the challenge about that is that if you're able to create such walled gardens, it can preclude any other new entities coming in. That means the innovations, everything is within that walled community, and that walled community always have a certain segment of participants, users. Even in the physical world, that is how it is. We know very many walled communities in Delhi and Gurgaon and so on and so forth. Different scales of walled communities. But it's a close community. You know, it is meant for a certain segment of residents. And same thing happens in walled community in e-commerce too. And all the innovations are focused on that community of users and maximizing that community's holders, shareholders' value. And if I have, let's say if I have a new innovation, a new offering, that new offering is successful if I am able to get that offering to be relevant to any of the existing platforms and sell that idea to them, or become an addendum to that idea, to that platform with that idea. Otherwise, you have no use. And in an open network, it completely breaks. In fact, I'm sure that some of you are very familiar, might have observed one very
of the e-commerce, not only in India but globally as well. I will not steal the thunder for the upcoming sessions, but before that, that's the future that we're looking at. What kind of transactions would happen in future, or maybe once this particular technology comes in full force. But let's understand from this distinguished panel that I have here, what is happening today? How essential is the demand generation as as a phenomena for the sellers and also for the customers in today's world? I have this very distinguished panel here with Alok Chawla, who's the CEO for Eco. We have Varun, who's the founder for OTP, and we have Naman, who's joining us from Magic Pen. So my first question is to you, Alok. You've been doing some great work in the kirana store, in the grocery category per se. What do you think is from a demand generation point of view, what are those few things that you're doing currently? And
begin with just a slight introduction that we at Eco are enabling retailers, primary grocery retailers to come online, build their online presence, and of course sell on ONDC, be available there. We've started off, and we found this by multiple experimentation, but we found that demand generation for a retail store generally happens in his neighborhood. So with that learning, we've gone around doing a lot of activities in housing societies around. So when we activate a store, we spend a week, 10 days helping him get the flywheel started. So the activities happen also in the market where the store is, because obviously people who buy from him are in the market and shopping. So to an extent also educating the customer about the concept of ONDC itself and how this store of yours will buy regularly from his online. And you can just shop from him online. Typical store behavior, as we all understand, for regular stores, is you walk to the store when you want to buy a reasonably large amount of products. But when you want to buy 2 or 3 SKUs, the behavior has become such that you're buying online, right? And so these stores are seeing that my existing customer who's buying from me now, but when he wants fewer products, he's just buying it online. Or maybe if he's very loyal, he's making a phone call or sending a WhatsApp. But then it's not very efficient, timely deliveries don't happen. So I think that's also one more thing we learned, and then we started telling sellers that start educating your own customers that when you want smaller quantities of orders, you can still buy it online from me and get the same online experience of other quick commerce applications.
From an ecosystem point of view, which the current innovations or current ways of working are not able to solve.
Sure. So quick introduction. So at OTP, we are a farm to fork player for fruits and vegetables. We started our journey on ONDC as a seller app, and we would obviously procure from the farmers, and we would do early morning deliveries to consumers. So यहाँ तक हम करते थे. From a journey standpoint, I would say we are there on most of the, I would say, the popular buyer apps, तो हम where you'll find us on Paytm, No Broker, इन सब पे आप हमें देखोगे. So I think overall the great part about being at ONDC obviously is कि your visibility goes way beyond what you would do from just your own app. So आपके efforts के beyond आपकी visibility बढ़ती है, which is great. And the way if you talk about the challenges that we face, right? So I think हमारे उसमें if I just go step by step, तो fruits and vegetables as a category देखो हमारा ना repeat तो अच्छा होता ही है, मतलब just to give you a perspective, मतलब 90% consumers जो अगले महीने को पिछले एक महीने वाले होते हैं, that is just the nature of our business, तो वो अच्छा रहता है. And one challenge that we saw along the way was that the context. तो क्या है कि you can be live on many buyer apps, but उस buyer app पे जब वो consumer आ रहा है तो क्या वो उस mindset से आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा है, that will determine the possibility that he will click on your icon and end up buying or not. तो मतलब हमने उसमें contextually थोड़ा difference देखा है. तो for example if you are on Paytm which has a very large consumer set, उसमें से percentage जो हो सकता है आप पे click करे वो थोड़ा कम हो, क्योंकि वो ना generally grocery mindset से नहीं आ रहे होंगे for example. ठीक है, and अगर आप किसी और को देखोगे तो हो सकता है आपको वहाँ थोड़ा ज़्यादा मिले.
That ONDC has initiated are things like clickable catalogs where people can go directly onto those links. We are also now incorporating deep links into our social media posts, so that if you read about a product, you like the offer, you can click and you can reach to the actual buyer app to buy it. So these are few initiatives that we've done at our end. I would like to know from you, from a buyer app perspective, what are those things that Magic Pen is doing to facilitating the demand generation effort at the seller's level? Mind you, I mean, just giving the power of generating the demand for themselves to the seller and not being dependent, on an app per se. So, are there any specific initiatives that you are driving or you are taking or thinking of taking in future?
Yeah. Hi. So at Magic Pen we are doing multiple things to enable the sellers to have the power to reach out to different kind of users, right? For example, we've done retail activities with them, right? And that works very effectively because at the moment of the transaction where the customer is walking into the offline store, if while the customer is doing that transaction, the merchant can create an offer that if you go to ONDC and do an online order, you'll get something extra, right? That puts the power in the hand of the seller to create offers that allow for more transactions to happen on ONDC. For example, like all sellers want to find a way to move away from existing aggregators or digitize and get their existing customers to go online, and they want to pay lower commissions, right? Best way for that to happen is get the user to go into ONDC. So let's say if a user walks into a chai store and does an offline transaction, the seller can say that next time you go and you want to order from home, you get a free chai if you order above 100 rupees of my store on any of the ONDC buy apps, right? By the way, that can be done on the QR code as well, where on the QR code, the merchant can create a way in which on the seller app, they can enable this order, and that gets pushed onto all the buyer apps. So when the user then scans this, they
Thank you.